we good. Hello and welcome to a new video. This video is a sketchbook tour, well, digital sketchbook tour. So in this video I'm going to tour this, which is my iPad, as you can guess, with Procreate sketchbook spreads. And today is quite cold and gloomy day, so I have my tea here in this huge mug, which I love because, you know, you can fit a lot of tea in this, and not necessarily the color. Anyway, you didn't come here just for the tea, I assume. Anyway, I would love to offer you some tea, so if I can, obviously. So grab some drink, maybe tea, coffee, or water, which it's always good to drink something while you watch videos because they can become quite long, right? Anyway, and why sketchbook tour? Why digital sketchbook tour? Well, let me show you. I have them here. So, alright. Anyway, as you can see, I have quite a lot of sketchbooks, so I'm not showing these right now because, let me put this away. I have a lot of unfinished sketchbooks and I need to finish those. So let me know if you would like to see some of these sketchbooks, older and newer ones as well, in some of the upcoming videos. But in this one, let's open Procreate and let's look at some of the sketchbook spreads. And I wanted to say something else. What was it? Oh yeah, I almost forgot. So in this video, I will be showing you mostly landscapes and scenes and travel inspired illustrations because this video would become super long. So anyway, let's open Procreate and let's get to it. All right, so here I thought that I will start with some of the older artworks that I have in my Procreate and iPad. So if I open this one, you can see that I have different color explorations. So this was one of the color studies and explorations that I did when I was doing more concept art. And as you see, this is one scene with different light settings. So I was exploring different shadows and colors reflected on nature. You can have like winter setting, more gloomy setting, a magical one, or something which is more with cherry blossoms. I didn't use that many brushes in this one, so it was really just about exploration of color and light. And if we go back to the gallery, here I started to explore more flat colors and more simple composition, which was more fitting for some of the different client projects. So as you can see, I simplified some of these plants a lot. This is not a good resolution artwork, but it's just like simplified version. There was a text here, that's why it's so empty. Then if I go further, you can see some of these other sketchbook layouts, which very simplified landscapes. This was inspired by some of the seaside in Portugal, especially somewhere near Lisbon, where they have these mountains. This one is inspired by the same location because there is also a lighthouse. And these artworks were meant to be more as a wall art, so that's why they are simplified. So I was selling these for a while in my Etsy shop. This one was one of the best sellers, but I didn't have time for my Etsy shop that much and I wanted to focus on different projects, so I closed down my Etsy shop. Here you can see some of the other explorations. So this is inspired by Swiss mountains and Swiss villages. As you can see, very simplified, quick shapes and layouts. The same go for this one. This is very rough exploration. As you can see, it's not even like cleaned up, but it was good enough for this type of, like sketchbooky things. Here, I wanted to explore some of the double exposure or opacities, playing with that type of layout. I am not a big fan of these colors anymore because they are too pastel-y for me, but at that time I was really into these color palettes. Then here I have something inspired by Lisbon, and as you can see, the color palettes are very similar, but I changed some of the houses, so it's changing the composition a little bit. Then here I was already exploring more of the Lisbon layouts because they have super cool colors. And this illustration or this layout is for my perspective class. That's why you can see these perspective grids, even though it says composition, but it was for the perspective class. Here you can see a poster of Venice, again within these simple shapes and colors. I actually have this in my studio because I like them as wall art because they are so simple. Here I also included some character, and I also play around with more textures. I mean, not much, just a little bit of grain texture. This is another travel inspired illustration, as you can see, inspired by Zurich, where I included also some swans, which are quite a recognizable thing in Zurich, lake and the river. And also similar color palette as these other travel posters, so they can fit together. Also another travel inspired illustration from Copenhagen. This was a little bit inspired by me living in Scandinavia. So I really like this harbor in Copenhagen when I visited, so super nice. And it was always so cold. This one is inspired more by also imaginary trip because this would be so expensive to eat croissant breakfast by looking at the Eiffel Tower. But this would be cool setting, I guess, to do. And you can see I have two different color palettes. I was exploring something more muted, which would fit with the other posters. And this one is a little bit more colorful. Here, as you can see, I'm going more into like brighter colors and exploring these like flower fields full of flowers, because I think this will be super awesome to walk in the flower field, maybe with your dog, and yeah, just sunset or this type of day when it's like warm and sunny, super nice. And this layout is again with some composition tips, because this was for my composition class, where you can see I explore different angles and other different tips about composition. And this is also another simplified, cute illustration for the composition class. And some of these illustrations were again like more simplified, flat shapes, because they were meant to be for tea packaging project. And then I turned this into a class when that project didn't happen. So we can look at one of those because they are quite similar. So I can take this one with the bird, and this illustration is inspired by Azores because of the nice hills with vineyards and greenery, and apparently you can see some of the nice flowers there, I think in June. So I would love to visit Azores in June when there are like all of these flowers. That can be cool. And within the similar layout, I also illustrated something, again, inspired by Switzerland. This is supposed to be Verbier, where you can go skiing and mountain biking and maybe play with dogs by the lake. So this can be super nice moment in the mountains. Then if we go to the next one, still with similar style, This would fit for some of the client projects when they want more simplified shapes. So that's why I also created this one for the winter portfolio. So you can see some of the kids and characters skiing. They're very simple because they're far away and very, very small. And yeah, I actually quite like this setting because there is a lot of stuff happening there, and it still feels quite cozy even though it's winter. Okay, so another one here. This was inspired by, I'm not sure, but I think this was Canary Islands, where I looked at the wisterias on some of the pictures in the villages. I mean, super cool flowers hanging around. And then you can kind of have different moments within the day, like zoom in on the window, a little bit of a cute kitty, and then some door. And I included this brush as a class, so this one was fun to make for sure. And then you can quickly draw some of these flowers. Okay, this is also a landscape. This is one of the older illustrations with a seal, and I was inspired by the light and color palette from that one for this newer illustration, which is this cool whale. And I really had fun creating this one, and I included this illustration, maybe if I can go back, also in another class, which was digital tips and illustration class, but I made it in different colors. It's more like warm tones and more animals, so this was quite a lot of fun to make. And if you watch that class, you don't have this illustration step by step, but you have variety of tips how to work with digital art, so that one is fun. Here I was just exploring some blending modes and textures, how you can simplify painting water, but I didn't finish this illustration, so it's just like quick, whatever that is, exploration. Here, this is inspired by some of the China gardens, and it's very rough sketch, as you can see, and it was also smaller resolution. And I wish now I used different colors for the water, but oh, I put the character here. Oh, I forgot. Okay, well, it was supposed to be character. It's not very visible, so I would need to improve the illustration for sure. Here is another one. This one I didn't finish either. There is still some work to be done on the house, and this is inspired by one of the gardens in LA, if I'm not mistaken. I still have that reference somewhere, so I still want to put some details and, you know, the fountain here and finish off some of these flowers, but I quite like the color palette, but I can maybe brighten it a little bit more. Okay, and this one is inspired by, I think I had it written there, this is Hobart. So they have this nice harbor with boats. So this is pretty cool. I actually quite like these clouds, that they are like flat at the bottom and like fluffy on the top. And then this is more like simplified again, but a little bit more painterly than the artworks that we looked at before. This one doesn't have any textures, but it was actually quite fun to try to draw different types of dogs. This one is super weird. What's wrong with this dude? Okay, anyway, but it was quite fun. I think I will do a little bit more dogs in the future. I think on this one I can actually see some of the, yeah, like time-lapse replay, so you can see how it's progressing, which is quite fun. Ah, okay, wait a minute, I'm already here, so let me go back. Okay, so here you can see like la 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 la. Okay, wait. All right, so here we go. Okay, so I sketch some of these in silhouettes, then move them around. Yeah, so trying out a little bit different approach. Okay, yeah, that's it. All right. This one was inspired by some locations, again in Switzerland, because there are a lot of hiking areas and you can look at a lot of images online as well, or actually Google Maps or Google Earth. I'm not sure. I can put it in description where you can look at some of the references and you can draw based on that, which is super fun. All right, and so this one is a little bit more tropical. I was trying out some different brushes and I think it's missing maybe a character there, but yeah, this one was also fun to make. This one I'm not a big fan of because there is not enough like contrast and depth, but it was nice to explore this kind of composition. This one is inspired by, I think, a river in Germany. I mean, it can be anywhere because there is like, what is it called? Willow and some flowers and boats. I mean, yeah, I like the composition. I'm not a big fan of the colors, but that can be explored further. This is another like collection of images from one location with the lake and the rose garden. The rose garden would be here. But again, I was not a big fan of the colors after I started sketching this one, so I kind of left it abandoned. I mean, sometimes that happens with my sketchbook. But anyway, I quite like this one. This was one of the views. I happen to have one time we went hiking, so this is one of my favorite illustrations because you can actually remember the moment when you are drawing it. I mean, not you, but me, but you know what I mean. Sometimes it happens to you, right? If you draw something and then you remember the moment better. So kind of like a meditation. And so these are like doors exploration because each door was inspired by different location. And this one, as you might guess, it's inspired by India. And I think here we can also look at the time-lapse replay because it was fun. So as you can see, I was using symmetry and you can watch this also in my class. So this was fun to make. Yay! Lots of details. Cool! Yeah, I really like this one. I think this one was my favorite. Wait. So, also this one was fun, but I think here I would still add more stuff, you know, to fill the composition. Somehow I have the need to fill the composition. I like full compositions, especially in my sketchbook. So this one was inspired by New Zealand. This one maybe I will redo because I'm not a fan of the flowers, how I did them here. So maybe this one is waiting for a redraw. This one is similar to the one we looked at before, if you remember, but I made winter setting in Verbier, also with the same lady. So this was actually commission for someone, so super cute. This one I played more with simplification of the shapes, but I feel like this one was simplified too much, so I still prefer more the painterly things. So, but it's good to explore because obviously what is the sketchbook for, right? This one has a lot of details, inspired again with like meadows in mountains and like very colorful stuff. I can imagine if you're sitting in some of these cottages and look at the lake in the summer and spring can be super nice. So anyway, traveling through art. All right, yeah, and here I was exploring like different color settings for the same layout. So this is supposed to be, you know, like more evening setting, but that you can still see the flowers. So obviously not realistic, but, you know, different light setting. Here, this one is not finished, but I wanted to draw some beach, and this will be like top view of the beach and side view. So sketchbooking that, I need to finish this. This is inspired by Rheinfällen, so the waterfalls which you have in Switzerland, and it's super cool there in autumn, and you can walk around, and there is also a castle. So this one is super nice because, again, like more memories that you can go there and just look around, and yeah, it's just super nice place, especially in autumn because of all the colors. So, and this was like the plan of the layout. Okay, this is not finished, as you can see, but this is supposed to be Amsterdam, and maybe I'll finish it. I'm not a fan of these colors anymore, so we'll see. Maybe I'll try a different layout later on at some point. Okay, this was fun to paint because exploring different colors of the water and how the waves can be simplified, and then you can put some characters there, like you can put some stories. Maybe you invent like a family with a dog or a picnic basket blanket anyway, blanket, or someone suntanning, or obviously like surfers. And I turned this one into a class because I had fun painting this, and I thought also some of you might have fun painting this type of topic, so for sure that is nice. I mean, for sure, for me, for sure, it was nice. So this is another concept where I thought you can go for a walk with the dog in the mountains. Not finished, very rough, just like very rough exploration with sketches. And maybe I will finish this one because that can be super nice. Kind of these Ghibli moments, you know. Yeah, I love those movies. All the settings there are so beautiful. So yeah, you can see a lot of inspiration here from that. Even though it's a little bit different style, obviously, but similar idea where you go somewhere with your dog on a maybe bike and flowers and this super nice moment. Maybe you stay in this hut and go kayaking, or I don't think you can go snorkeling because you would freeze probably in mountain lake. Maybe some people like it, but this can be super nice. I mean, to be there. This one is inspired by a location in Ireland. Again, I would love to visit this place because it looks super cool. Especially it can be nice, again, I guess in autumn if it is not rainy and super windy like in Scandinavia, which I guess in Ireland is also quite often, you know, like very windy and cold and dark. But when you have nice weather, I can imagine it's beautiful because it's lush and green. So one of my destinations where I want to go, so many destinations, so at least traveling through art. So I think it's a good idea, at least. Do you agree with me? Do you like to travel through art? So this one is inspired by, if you can guess, this is Florence. This is supposed to be also like wisteria, and you can sit under these like wisteria trees and bushes, and you are kind of like hidden from the direct sun. So this is nice when it's super hot. Okay, and here I have illustrations inspired by Brazil. This is how I imagine where you go to Brazil. It's beautiful and lush and full of flowers and beach and basically colorful. It will be nice. Here I have another illustration which is inspired by winter. It's more simple shapes, but I was trying to play with composition just to keep it very simple but balanced, and I actually really like these colors, so maybe I can turn this into bigger illustration. Maybe something for as a poster, and as you can see I used similar colors here because this like sunset and you know, these colors when you are in a kind of snowy setting, it's very cool. And actually this illustration, I just remember, it was inspired by one of the videos I watched on YouTube. It's the channel Flying the Nest, because they went to Finland actually to go on a sled, and it looks super cool. So after I saw their video, I was like, okay, I should go there. And until then, I can at least draw it. And here I explored two different color options. and I can't decide which one I like more now, but yeah, I think I like both. I mean, I like both of them. So yeah, that's quite fun. And then here I have some exploration of mountain trains. Mountain, what am I saying? I meant Swiss trains because they are red, and it's a nice contrast to, you know, the nature, which is green. And here I tried also different perspective. I quite like this one, but I still prefer maybe this one or this one more because of the colors, and maybe this moment with the bikes can be fun as well. I never biked like that in mountains, but I assume it's nice. Probably very tiring, but never mind. Where was I? Oh yeah, here. So this one is also inspired by New Zealand, I think. Okay, so yeah, I started with seagulls for some reason, and then I decided maybe I'll do some landscapes as well. Okay, so here's the second one, and the third one. Maybe I can zoom on it a little bit. Oh, yeah, of course it jumped somewhere else. Okay, yeah, that's it. Cool. Yeah, I really like to always watch these time lapses. I don't know if that happens to you as well. Sometimes you don't like the illustration that you're making, and then when you watch the time lapse, you're like, huh, this is actually not too bad. I think we already looked at this one. Why is it here? Okay, I need to go and move that later on. So this one, maybe you can guess, this is inspired by Santorini, and I love the simple shapes of the, how do you call that? You know, stairs and all these like shapes and curved walls and all of these things. And I also like the simplified color palette for this one because you have most of the things white in this town there. Yeah, it's definitely nice on the pictures, but I made it a little bit more blue, as you can see, so not everything is just white on this, I mean, in this illustration. Then if we go to next one, you feel free to pause this video because it's getting quite long. Maybe I should split it into more videos. Maybe I'll do that. So here you can see I was going again for more underwater theme, but more simplified shades and some characters. So this one, it's maybe we can call it a mermaid, and then we have some snorkelers here just as a silhouette, and some turtle, not with realistic colors, but just like very simplified, limited color palette. So the all images kind of go together. So, okay. And I think maybe I stop here and then we can continue some other time because this video is becoming very, very long. So I would pause here and maybe we can look at some of the other sketches and different, you know, spreads of my digital sketchbook some other time in next videos. So yeah.